Real treat for you this morning. We're spoilt. Lord Digby Jones, the former Director General of the CBI and a Trade Minister in the current government, joins us. No longer a Trade Minister,
a year ago.
I
came out a year ago, yep.
And Dr. Philippa Malmgren is also here with us, the President of Principalis Asset Management. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Also, we should point out an advisor on economic affairs to a former US government, a Republican government.
Correct.
Right, so just to make that clear for everybody that needs to know that. We have a keynote speech tonight from President Obama on reshaping the global economy. What do you think he's going to say, Pippa?
Well, I think he's going to say we have our own ideas about what the rules of the game ought to look like, and we're expecting the rest of you to play by our rules. And I think the rest of the world keeps expecting the new American president to be more collaborative in his approach, and instead he's like most American presidents, and the Americans decide how they want to do things and expect everybody to fall in line, which they won't. And hopefully they won't, because it's important for markets to be able to arbitrage between different government policy choices. And I think in the U.S. we're in a moment in history where we're likely to be raising taxes, raising regulation, increasing the burdens on the business community, and if other countries don't want to follow us, I actually think that may not be a bad idea.
Are we warming up for a trade war? Is that where we're going with this?
I think firstly he's going to put down a big marker tonight for everybody coming to Pittsburgh on at the weekend. I think you know, it's great actually it's happening in a city like Pittsburgh, because it's all about, it's all about renewal. It's about, used to be a big steel city, now it's healthcare and universities and everything else. So it's big symbolic stuff about a renewed America in many ways. I think he's going to therefore say, well look, I'm the, because Americans are very reluctant imperialists, aren't they, you know, and he's going to stand up tonight and basically say, well, I boss the world and this is how it's going to be. And anybody who says, isn't that being a bully, well, I don't think Disraeli cared very much for the rest of the world 150 years ago when we used to do it. So at the end of the day, I think he is going to say, this is how it's going to be for us. Do you want to follow? Where I think he's more vulnerable, or should I say not him personally, but the American economy is more vulnerable, is $1.7 trillion on deposit in New York from China, which no former American president has had. The Russians saying implicitly, never openly, if you want me to denominate all my oil to Germany in euros, just keep talking. So suddenly if they does that huge run on the dollar, he knows that's there, hence a little bit of why those missiles came back last week. You know, America is a little bit more vulnerable and a little bit, it's got to share power at the top table in a way that no former American president had to do. So will he be collaborative? Yes, he will actually, but I think he's still, as an economy, he's still got the power to say, we are going to do it this way. And the problem is, Americans are implicitly and in their souls isolationist protectionists. And it is very difficult to get an American constantly for a long period of time to keep engaged. They're not natural free traders. And my worry is we want a globally engaged trading America as much as we've got in a new president, a globally engaged, what I would call cultural president. And the problem for a country like Britain, and indeed for exporting countries like Germany, is that if you have an America that puts up the tariffs, plays ball at home, bit of pork barrel on healthcare for tariffs and all of that, if you get that in America, then the world suffers, and especially the exporting developed world, Japan, Germany, Britain.
Clearly our audience is very interested on this issue of whether there is an implicit rather than an explicit acceptance of dollar devaluation from here. Is that unofficial administration policy now, do you think, to let the greenback go?
No, not at all. Because again, think about it this way. Given our dependence on foreign capital to fund our expenditure, since we spend more than we earn as a nation, does it make it easier or harder if the dollar weakens? Answer, harder, right? Because then people have to buy our bonds and expect to lose money on the currency. So a deliberate policy of weakening the dollar is not smart, and I don't think this administration is pursuing that.
It will make your exports cheaper.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we are the one economy that doesn't depend on exports, right? It's less than 10% of our GDP. So as a policy stance, that was not the stance of this same team when they worked for the Clinton administration, and I don't think they've changed their mind. So the market perception is that they don't care where it goes. My sense is they care where it goes in terms of the speed. If there's a slow grinding down of its value, which is a function of the fact the ECB has said we're going to raise rates and we're going to be aggressive, and the Fed is saying we're going to be more gentle, That's a normal price reaction. But if the market were to suddenly start selling dollars, I think you'd see some resistance.
Okay, all right, early doors. Squawkboxeurope at CNBC.com, our email address. If you'd like to get involved in the conversation around the desk, we'd be very happy to hear from you, and we'll pick up with Digby and Philippa in just a few minutes.